Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show where we talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and our science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the series finale of Into the Badlands. A great season finale. There is a shit ton of stuff to talk about, especially with everything. Like, I'll get to like the ending stuff at the end, but let's just break everything down going forward. Obviously, I like kind of things going full circle in a certain regard because you have Minerva giving Sunny Waldo's sword, and it's like, because obviously Waldo was kind of important to both of them, and just kind of interesting that it almost comes full circle in that regard. But there's a whole conversation about like, it's like, oh, you brought Henry into this world, do you ever regret it? And for Sunny, it's like, Henry's the one thing in this world I'm sure is the only good thing I've done. And obviously the whole conversation about Minerva and everything, and basically it's like, there what matters, like, because the fact of the matter is, aren't you worried that, like, she's like, aren't you worried that having Henry might make it a vulnerability? And it's like, vulnerability isn't weakness. Vulnerability means you have something to protect, and that means you're going to fight that much more for it. And saying that whatever Minerva decides to do, she should know that fighting for that child is they are become the most important thing. They're the only reason to fight, Which is so interesting because you can make the argument that was always Minerva's thing of like, she always fought for her own self-interest. So you see things kind of go down in that regard. And then, like the armies are kind of amassing on both sides. Pilgrim is amassing his armies, and even Cressida is having reluctancy because he's like, oh, I'm going to give you the gift. She's like, no. He's like, wait, what? I'm your god. She's like, I'm the high priestess. He's like, I'm your god. It's so interesting because like she brings up the whole point of like, because the whole conversation about earlier this season of like, oh yeah, when we put you on those hooks, what did you tell me? She's like, I said that I could see everything. But that's the thing about faith. It has a tendency to blind us from seeing all that we need to see, which Pilgrim goes, well, yes, that's the point. God blinds us so that, he darkens the path so that we can follow blindly. That's a true testament of faith. Obviously, after seeing what she's seen, Cressida has had reluctancy in this manner, and she's not really ready to kind of go forward with everything, Because seeing what the world would become if Pilgrim won, and even him trying to force the gift on her, not just her. There's a dude that's like, I'm scared, and Pilgrim kills him because it's like there's either the blessed or the damned. There's no middle ground anymore. We're going to burn this. Like if those who do not submit if they don't submit, then they die. That's kind of the whole thing. And we even see later on there was a nomad group that there was a mom dead with her child and her child dead too in her arms, and it just shows you there are no punches being held in this fight, like, and that I think kind of set it off in Minerva's head of Tilda, if you want to, you can walk away from this. She's like, what? Yeah, go off, be with Odessa, be happy. Because at the beginning, she's like, I was so strict with you because I thought it would make you strong, but having something to fight for is what makes you strong. So if you care about her, obviously go and don't stay here with me. But Tilda's like, no, I'm staying by your side during this. Because I think, when it's all said and done, because Minerva had also said it, because obviously it's like, oh, the guy says, like, the conversation you had with Sunny, and she's like, yeah. She was like, if we end up managing to survive this all, we need to make sure that our children, we got to set them on the right path, make sure that they learn from our mistakes, in this brand new world we're going to create. So I thought that was pretty dope. The battle, proceeds to, like, we don't hold any punches and go straight into the battle after kind of getting a lot of that stuff out of the way. Like Moon being like, nah, I'm not here for, trying to do the right thing. I'm here to kill Cressida for killing Lydia, which I was actually surprised he doesn't actually get to kill her. That actually surprised me. Cressida managed to sneak away from the battle because she knows, like, it's like, oh, this isn't my fighting war. I'm curious what she would do. Like, is she going to go off and try and spread the word of Azrael? Is she going to try? It's like, oh, Pilgrim's lost. He's completely consumed by darkness. But maybe she's thinking of like, oh, I can bring others into this fight to kind of build a new Azrael, or is she completely letting that go? She talks about her faith. That's all she had. So I'm assuming that's kind of alluding to the fact that she would continue what she's doing just with new people, because she was like, oh, the fact is Pilgrim got too consumed by power, he's lost, but maybe I can find someone else to be his replacement. It's that whole weird conversation of like, they've been through a lot, like she's been like a mother to him and like a woman, and it's like, I was like, because I almost let it slip my mind, the bathtub scene. I let that slip my mind. I was like, right, that totally happened. Weird. Okay. But nevertheless, Moon followed after, and I love that whole conversation. She's like, your woman died, obviously fighting the whole conversation about Lydia, but it's like, it doesn't change the fact that you're still going to die. And she's like, the fact of the matter is, I am unarmed. I have no qualms with you. I am unarmed. Where's the honor in killing me like that? And Moon's like, bump that. Who gives a damn about honor? I think his little words was like, fuck honor. I was like, yo, considering Moon being who he is, who's all about honor, for him to say that, just because for him it's about revenge, about him being like, Cressida, no matter where you go, I will find you. So his war isn't over until he's killed Cressida. So there's that. Then there's the whole MK situation, because he's trying to stop them from blowing up the Meridian Chamber. And how fortuitous, like, the people there that would be facing him is Minerva and Tilda. And it's kind of sad that in the end, like, we find ourselves in this situation, because in many different regards, because obviously remember, like, where everything was for Tilda and MK. Like, I think they were each other's first love, like the bond and relationship that they had, that obviously they still care about it. It resonates even in the battle, because when he was fighting Tilda, he could have killed her, but even in the state that he was, even believing what he believed in, he still couldn't kill her. He knocked her out. So it's just interesting to see him. Obviously, they were kind of already on opposite sides earlier this season, but they kind of see it furthered even more to this extent. Even the whole him and Minerva thing, it's like, you can make the argument Minerva's been on kind of the wrong side of things. She's always been just on her own side, and just to kind of see that Minerva's kind of on the right side of things now, and then MK's on the wrong side. It's so interesting, especially considering, it was always going to end up like this, last season, or earlier this season, how, like MK and Minerva's fate are so tied together. Same thing with Tilda, but all three of them, Gaius included, fighting against MK is pretty dope, and obviously not the easiest thing to take down a Dark One. But when the time comes, Tilda protects her mom. And am I too surprised by that? No, because she's literally done that before. MK threatened to kill her earlier in the season when he had his powers, but who stopped him? Tilda did, because Tilda will always do that, because that is her mom, especially now she knows that her mom is pregnant too. It's like, so I'm gonna protect you and your baby, my sister or brother, whatever the case may be. And that was enough to trigger Minerva's gift. It's like, I'm gonna make you feel my pain. It's like, holy shit. And she starts doing her Jedi thing of like, that's crazy. I guess that shows you just how powerful Minerva's gift is. I mean, she always kind of had a talent for it. It was just taken away from her. But I guess that raw emotion, I mean, that was the whole thing. Like, it's so interesting, because like, I guess that's kind of like the irony behind it too, because it's like, he had just taught all those other people that are fighting for Pilgrim how to turn their gift on by using pain, and she used her pain, because for the first time she wasn't fighting for herself, she's fighting for her baby and her other baby, like, Tilda, and she starts telekinetically throwing him everywhere. I'm like, yo, that's some master level shit. Like, MK does it. Even as powerful as MK's gift is, even he can't do that. And for her to be tossing him around like that, it's crazy. And then you have her taking the knife that Gaius gave her, no mercy, and she stabs him with it. And it's kind of sad that things kind of ended this way, because even you can see Minerva at the end of it kind of feeling bad, because she realizes, like, because she probably blames herself of being like, I'm part of the reason why MK went down his path, because I treated him this way because of my need to have power and get my gift back. It led to this. And it's like, for her, it's like, she finally has her gift back, what she always wanted. And that was a conversation earlier on of being like, you could get your gift back. Pilgrim, you and me, we're supposed to rule as gods, and it's like, I want nothing for you. Because she thought at one point in time that's all she wanted, but now she has more to fight for. And that's why her gift came out, because of that she had to fight for. And I think just seeing it there and just like killing MK, I think it made her, like I said, make her realize like what part she played in all this. And when the time came, she ended up leaving him his compass and says, I'm sorry, MK. I hope you find your Azra. Luckily, I mean, Tilda is still alive. I was kind of thinking, because it's like the whole thought process of like, oh yeah, MK was trying to heal himself. To be fair, he never learned how to, but I was thinking like in this moment, he's like, I'm going to try and do some good the last bit of my life. I thought he was going to heal Tilda. 100% that's where it was going to go. Turned out not to be the case. I think, I mean, Minerva being as powerful as she is, I mean, she doesn't really know the teachings and like how to go about it, but if she wanted to, I think she could potentially heal, Tilda. And it's like, I'm sure for her it scares her even more because like one of her baby's lives is in a balance, and it's probably going to make her like she probably already made up her mind of like I'm gonna bring my other child into the world, but I'm sure this is going to scare her into it because it's like how can I do that when my other child is literally fighting for her life, you know? So they're rushing to get her back. Then you have Kanan, Baji, and Sunny tearing through the battlefield. It's also interesting too because it's like you have Kanan and Baji turning people's gifts off and kicking ass. I even love there was that moment earlier of Baji being like, oh, I don't like boats, and Sunny's like, how can you not like boats and be scared of being on boats? You were a pirate. He's like, well, yeah, but people change. He's like, you were a clipper. In fact, you still kill a whole bunch of people, and he laughs, and Sunny just kind of gives him a scowl and everything. I love it. But yeah, it was pretty dope with them just like turning people's gifts off, bam, putting them down. And then obviously, you know, you see Pilgrim doing his thing of kind of knocking everyone down, superhuman strength, and everyone working together. Even all three of them together still isn't enough. Like, I like that point of like he's holding everyone back, but they're like kicking him and stomach. You can tell it's taking its toll, but he still is too powerful for them to handle. And during the fight, he ends up stabbing Sunny with Waldo's sword, but Kanan hooks him with the hooks. Baji jumps down with all his weight to yank him up, and he's like, Sunny, get up! Sunny pulls a blade out, jumps up, and stabs him through the chest. I'm like, yeah! I was actually kind of surprised because I figured it was going to come down to him using his gift, so I'm like, oh, Kanan's going to have to activate his gift. Turns out that's not the case. But sadly, Sunny dies. I was like, Jesus. Like, I was actually surprised because I figured if anyone was probably sadly going to die, it would probably be his sister, just to be just sucky about it after having found her, just to lose her again. Like, I figured that was going to be the case. But, you know, you even have Baji being like, I'm going to look after your son. He's going to grow up knowing what a great man and friend you are. Because I even love him being like, I'll try to be a good example for your son. But obviously, you know, there's no drinking and stuff like that. Baji's got his own issues and stuff like that. So, obviously, he won't be alone. Because there's a whole conversation he had with Gaius and Minerva about raising Henry too. You know, try and get him out of the Badlands. Obviously, Kanan would probably go along too because it's like, that's her nephew. So, it's crazy to see kind of everything in this way because the Meridian Chamber's gone. And it looks like this battle kind of has been satiated, but it's not necessarily over because even though the Black Lotus has done this, the fact of the matter is there's still some dark ones. I mean, especially if Minerva's got her gift back, so I wonder would they be, well, not unless Minerva keeps it secret, but that might be a worry of hers. It's like, well, now that she does have her gift back, I mean, it was always there buried within her, so does that mean that her child could also potentially be a dark one too? That could be like a repeat of the Henry situation, so there's that. Now potentially looking after Henry, you know, hopefully things didn't turn sour, that basically Tilda did survive. You can only hope. And then, you know, but then we get into a very interesting bit of territory where it's like, oh, like, because I thought like, oh, he ends up in that, I thought like, oh, maybe some way or shape or form they're gonna make it so that he's waking up in like some afterlife Azra. Maybe he runs into MK, but I was thinking more so than anything, I was like, he's gonna run into Vale. Tell me it's, because I know the actress who's playing Vale obviously, you know, was working on Charmed, so I was like, oh, maybe like they got her for like one last episode and like they can be together, you know, potentially. I thought that's something, but it's like, no, it's actually the Master. Is like, what are you doing here? And it's like, oh, you're actually not 100% dead. Because I noticed it at the end, his eyes glowed. I was like, oh, that has to be something of his gift. But I was like, it's like, oh, he's slowly but surely coming back to life because he's stuck between life and death. But it's like, this isn't the end. The fact is that there was an even greater darkness that was awakened. I guess because of everything buried with the Meridian Chamber. It being destroyed revealed other things that were kind of hidden there. It was a lab at one point in time. Well, not just a lab, it was like a military lab for them to create dark ones and everything, so there's that. But there's also the whole, that just kind of played an interesting role. It's like there's kind of a greater darkness. I wonder, was there actually something else released, like something like powerful, more powerful than dark ones that got released? I mean, now with this, like, there's potentially only 2 dark ones left in existence. Technically 3 if you count Minerva's potentially unborn child, because there's Minerva and there's Sunny, because obviously he's still alive. Kanan never got her gift back. But, you know, is it fully gone, or is it just kind of like it's buried deep? I'm pretty sure it's like fully gone just because of everything. So that kind of all died with him, with Pilgrim, and, you know, it was almost like sad too, because like for Sunny, it's like, you know, he's saying goodbye, brother, because he tried to, convince him one last time, like, to find some other way around this. But for him, he was so set in his ways of like, this is Azra. It's not even just like I'm carrying on the will of Azra. It's like, Azra is what I say it is. Essentially, the teachings and the beliefs, that's what I say it is. So once again, the whole God complex thing. So, but then it's like, before you go back, I got a lot to teach you. And then we see the dude who's probably one of the few, if not the only surviving Dark One. He ends up looking through where the rubble of the chamber was, and he finds a gun. I guess kind of representing that old technology, old forms of war are going to come back to the Badlands potentially. Now that is a huge ass cliffhanger, and I don't know how to feel about it. Like, a lot of stuff, it kind of makes me feel like, okay, like, it's that thing of like, the end is just a new beginning. So basically me saying, like, the fact is that I don't know, I haven't read up on like how, because I was under the impression like, okay, when they're coming back with these 8 episodes, it's that they planned out how the series is going to end. I don't know whether like it's meant to be open-ended like that, like, like you can imagine that there's more story to be told, or is it a situation of they never changed the episode? It wasn't until the show was coming back for its season 3B that was like, oh yeah, AMC's like, we're not bringing you back for another season. So that's where my mind initially kind of goes to, because I was, like I said, I was under the impression I thought this had an actual fully like complete ending, but it seems like no, this ending was set up for potentially more in the future, which is interesting, because I think this would be a situation of us expanding beyond the Badlands going forward, which, to be fair, who's to say that this couldn't be the end? This could be the end of like Into the Badlands, but going forward we could get like a spin-off show. Like, I mean, I don't know if the creators maybe are able to pitch it or whatever, but whoever they set that up with, or if not, they bring it back for another season, kind of uncancel it to bring more episodes back. I don't know. Either way, I want more of this story, just because it's like, we've only, like, there's so much stuff still kind of left unanswered. Like, obviously, like, there's stuff that wasn't even tackled. Once again, Sonny's gift. It's a situation of like, well, he doesn't have to worry about dying fighting Pilgrim, but it's like his gift might be necessary to fight this greater evil. But like I said, like, you can make it like a spin-off show where it's like, it's not Into the Badlands anymore because it's no longer the Badlands. Things have changed. Like, we can kind of skip forward a little bit in time and see how things have changed, or like I said, expand beyond the Badlands, because a lot of people want to leave. But if you want to just bring it back as Into the Badlands and give us another season, I'm fine with that too. But it's like, because like I said, I went into this thinking I'm going to have a proper ending, which on many different regards, a lot of stories and chapters closed properly, but they left enough open that I'm like, I don't know if it was meant to be like that, or just kind of like there could be more, but there won't be. You know, maybe they potentially left it open like that just in case they do ever get the chance to bring out more, whether it's create a new show or bring this show back from cancellation. I don't know. I'd love to, just because, you know, I never want to see anything end anyway. So it's kind of a bittersweet. It's not like it leaves me mad. Like, obviously, I've talked in the past, I like series finales leaving me mad. But in this case, not so much. It's not really mad, because it is a good enough, like, series finale where it's like everything's kind of closed, but there's enough stuff open for more in the future. So that's where my mind is on all of this. So I still walk away saying it's a great finale. It just, you can, like I said, you just tell more could be built off. And I'd love to kind of expand upon that, because the stuff that's kind of been here, conversations here and there kind of being within the background, talking about the whole, like, the world before, kind of seeing and understanding how Dark Ones got created. That might be something we might go back to. I don't know. Like I said, considering the fact is there potentially are no more Dark Ones, at least here in the Badlands. Who's to say there aren't more out there in the world? Because the Red Lotus is everywhere. The Black Lotus, not Red Lotus, which I brought that up too, of like, yeah, their whole mission, well, they might be under the impression like, all of them are dead, so what is their new mission now? Are they continuing to hunt Dark Ones outside? Because the Meridian Chamber is destroyed, so there's no worry of another Pilgrim, which I brought it up earlier about, like, who would Cressida, I was butchering that, I don't know why, but Cressida could find someone else. It's like, all she would have to do is find a whole bunch of new Dark Ones that kind of be about her situation, which even then we still never really found out like what her whole deal is. Like, she has a gift of her own. I guess it's just part of being the High Priestess, and just leave it at that. The whole like red eye thing she did before, I guess, like I said, I guess that's all we kind of chalked that up to. So Like I said, I guess it's really all I wanted to talk about. That's where my mindset is. Like I said, I will kind of look into this a little bit more and see potentially. Like I said, this feels like a definitive series finale. But like I said, I'd love for things to kind of change. But even if things don't change, if regrettably things don't change, I always say this about any series. I wish everyone involved, from cast to crew, I always wish them the best of luck with their future endeavors. So hopefully those future endeavors continue in the form of either another season of this or kind of an expanded universe of Into the Badlands. But that's just me, so. But really, that's all I want to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.